we've got to fix it. All right, because for us to maintain it the way that it is, it will collapse. It will fall on itself. The Social Security is a perfect example. Social Security was not geared to have a life expectancy of where it is currently. It certainly wasn't geared to have a life expectancy of where it is going to be. My kids, who are 18 down to 10, literally could have a life expectancy of 100 years. Well, you can't retire at 64, having worked for, presumably 40 years, maybe even a little longer, and then retire for 40 years. That the system was not set up for that in its current form. So I'm not saying a system couldn't work that way, but it's got to look a little differently. And that's all that I know. I know this because we remember the commercials a few cycles back where it was Paul Ryan pushing Granny over the cliff, and literally a mannequin going over the cliff. And it was those budget numbers of Paul Ryan. Well, we've adopted those budget numbers, and we've been living with those budget numbers, and that hasn't happened. I think it's just naive. I think it's frankly dangerous to stick our heads in the sand as a nation and not address how these entitlement programs have grown tremendously. In fact, about 2/3 of the federal budget is on autopilot now, and it's in those programs of spending. I have no direct influence or effect on those, and so when we're dealing with that much money getting soaked up into those programs, important programs that they are, we've got to look at how we extend the life of those. And that's really the desire that he has. If you look at our Better Way program, that 6-point plan that we had put together, we address that as well. And I think again we can't just duck the tough issue on that. And the interesting thing is, I talk to a lot of people. I go into senior centers, right? The seniors know it. They get it. They really do. And I always tell them, look, I've got a moral, I believe we as a society, we have a moral and social obligation to those who are in the system right now. And for me at 47, I've got some time to adjust. And whether that's income levels or qualifying levels, whether it's length of working, that's how they've done it before, is they'll move it a month for every year. Some of those kinds of things that we ought to look at. I've got some time to adjust. My kids, who either aren't in the workforce or will be shortly, they certainly have time to adjust. And I think, again, it's just that predictability side. Whether it's business or us as individuals, we're looking for some predictability as to, if I know what my goal is, I can deal with it, and I can get that done. I just need to know what the rules are going to be.